Hi, this is Alfie Wattam, London's tech recruiter and the host of the London Technology Podcast. Today I'm joined by Paolo. Thanks for joining us. Could you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, thanks for having me. My name is Paolo Valdemarin, and I work with a company based in London called Activate. We are a startup studio. So what we do is we find very early stage companies that we'd like to engage with. We help them focus their business strategy before talking about their products. What we have noticed is very often companies that struggle with what they think is a technology problem actually sometimes have a strategy problem. They're just building the wrong product. And then we help them raise capital, and in some cases we help them build a product by putting together a team of designers and developers to create new things.
Awesome. So you've been in the industry for a while. What advice would you give to people that are just getting into the tech industry from a career perspective?
Well, I think that something that I feel is especially important in this period, but it has always been true. I think that it is making it even more important today, is learn to work asynchronously. I mean, try to figure out, because you can learn technologies, you can learn new languages, and you will keep learning all your career. But something that is hard to find and very valuable these days is people who can work asynchronously, which basically means you need to be good at writing, you need to be good at explaining yourself in a written form, because sometimes you won't be able to interact with other people at the same time. And you need to be able to understand other and have other understand you. So I think this is probably the most valuable talent for a tech person in a modern company, especially if you work in a startup where you're in a small team, starving of resources. You need to make the best of what you have.
Got it. Perfect. That's good advice. What about, we're going a little bit off topic, but what about on the more senior end, the people that are starting their own companies? Obviously, that's kind of what you do, get involved with them. What makes a successful tech startup, do you think?
Well, I think that the main challenge for a tech startup is building the right product. And as trivial as it might sound, very often the problem is not being able to answer some very basic questions. I mean, what problem are you solving? Do you know who has the problem? Do they know they have this problem? Do you know how to reach them? Are they willing to pay to solve this problem? If you can answer to this simple question, it means you have a solid strategy, which makes more likely for you to build a proper product. But what I've seen that many times happens is that companies just start writing code, building things, delivering, and yes, of course, move fast and break things, but you need to know in what direction you're moving, and very often companies don't have a very clear idea. So spend time knowing your customers before you start building your product, and make sure that when you're starting to have problems, and you will for sure, you don't misinterpret strategy problem for technology problem. Technology is usually where the symptoms emerge, but very often that's not where the problem is. Very often the problem is in your core strategy.
That's a good point. Yeah, well said. Brilliant. All right. Well, what about looking into the future? If we were to look into your crystal ball, obviously you're looking at emerging trends and different markets and technologies. What gets you excited right now that you think will have a big impact on the future ahead?
Well, I don't know if it's going to have a huge impact, but I think that one of the most interesting areas of improvement in technology as we use it is using AI in the most mundane places. I mean, don't just think of AI as some magic solution that that allows you to solve all the problems of the planet. But I think that every time you can remove a feature from your product by making the product smarter, by allowing the product to make a decision on behalf of users, you're making your product a little bit easier to use and probably a little bit more effective. So, I mean, Apple is doing this in a very interesting way. Nowadays, there are thousands of little things in the operating system that are just switching automatically based on AI. And I think that that is very interesting. Being able to allow your product to work well without having to continuously ask the user to answer a question to make a decision to do things will make your product much better.
Yeah, oftentimes the devil's in the details, right? And the little things become the big things in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Paolo, for your ideas and insights. It was great to hear what you have to say about these areas. So thanks so much for your time, and thank you to everybody for watching as well.
Thank you, and good luck to everybody.